Hi there, my name is Vik Tilson. I'm an artist in the UK. I'm mainly known for abstract work, but now and again I do landscape, trees and stuff like that. So today in the tutorial I thought I would give you a quick overview how to draw a tree using an ink pen. So basically all you're going to need is a A4 piece of paper, standard typing paper, show me age, computer paper, and I've just got a Pilot pen here, which is like a rollerball thing. It's about, doesn't really matter the thickness of the nib, to be honest. This is a 0.7. I'll see what it's like. I might need something a bit bigger actually. I don't know, see how we get on. Sometimes use a bit thicker. And you're just going to use that to build up the texture really. So we're going to go for something pretty generic and just build it up. So see how this goes. Never done this before live on the video, so if it ends up a complete mess you won't see it. So basically what I would do usually is just kind of outline the shape of the tree. So don't worry about it too much. So you're going to want something kind of like that. That just gives you the kind of shape of the whole thing, which is going to come up around there. You can tweak around with it, don't worry too much. So this shading here, remember with it like the paintings were, you're always going to have one side slightly darker than the other, so we have the shade coming on the right hand side, especially on the trunk. And then what I tend to do is hold the pen like that, don't grip it too much, and you're going to kind of build up the tree just using very gentle wiggly lines, I guess, but you're going to kind of structure bits of the tree like that. Obviously trees have bits and bobs coming down, and just kind of build it up. Now you might think, oh god, this is going to be pretty boring, which yeah, in kind of real time probably is. I should be speeding up this video, but I haven't got technology to do that, or the know-how, or the inclination, to be honest. So we're just going to go like this and kind of build up this texture and the fullness of the tree. I mean, trees are not exactly perfectly round, whatever way you'd like to call them. You're going to have more darkness on this side. Probably a good idea to actually sellotape this down actually, which I should have done. Just use a bit of masking tape on the edges of the paper. Pretty random here, and you're going to be building up the texture of the tree using these very, very fine lines. So you can see already the middle bit is starting to take shape. I'm just going to grab a bit of masking tape here, so excuse me for a second. If I can do this one-handed, which I probably can't. I just want to put a bit of masking tape on the edges of the paper. One bit there. Doing this one-handed, so this is really good. That's very clever of me. Should have done that before I started, and just shove another bit down there. Okay, just tend to kind of rotate it right. Okay, that should give us a bit more stability, hopefully. There we go. So, now we've done that. So we press on with this. Don't worry too much. I mean, it's one of these things that's quite fun to do actually. So, you know, don't worry. It's a lot of squiggly lines, but it's one of those things that once you kind of get a lot of lines together and you start to build up that depth, it does start to look like a tree. Again, you can have it as big or as bushy as you want. The secret with this is the lines, the amount of lines. So don't be too worried about what direction, whatever. Good old scribble around. If you want to do something a bit special once you get into the hang of doing these, I would probably recommend a better paper actually, but for the purpose of this we're just going to do just on ordinary paper. Once you get to the edges of the tree, just be a little bit careful once you start to do these edges, because those are the bits that people are going to notice. And obviously people know what a tree looks like, but it's the edges that people notice, not so much the actual texture in the middle. So you don't want too many odd bits sticking out. It's a very kind of generic shape that you're looking for. Remember, if anybody looks at a painting or a sketch especially, they're looking at it from quite a way off usually. People don't usually look very close up. So it's one of those things, the eye sees what it thinks it can see, not necessarily what is actually there. So I'm just going to work down here, maybe a few little bits coming off there. I could make this trunk a little bit thicker actually, especially coming down here. Try and get your lines nice and smooth. You don't want too many sharp edges. Remember, keeping the right hand side in this case as the shady side, and that is going to be true of the top as well, so that the top of that part is going to be darker than the left hand side. I think traditionally normally people have the light come from the other way, but it's just me being awkward. Pre-planning, not my best thing. But as you can see, you're kind of building up a bit of a texture here, which is quite nice. These pens are great actually. I mean, they're just ordinary writing pens, but they do give you the opportunity to play around quite a bit and build up texture. Obviously you can spend a lot of money and buy pretty expensive pens, but I find these a bit more impressive if you really want to get to grips with it, and I don't know, just kind of more fun actually. A bit careful on the edges there. You want to kind of a sweeping thing going up there, not too sharp. It's a bit uniform at the top there, so I think let's build up a little bit more height to that. If you do this a lot, I mean, I'm using obviously this pen here. It's going to take a bit of a beating, the old nib on this. So it does take a bit of strength out of the old pen. But having said that, they're not really that expensive anyway, so it's generally something people have got around. So you can see on this side here I'm doing, we've got more of a deeper colour here, say deeper colour, but more of a shade. And that's the kind of thing that makes it look a little bit more realistic. So when you look at things, even if you don't really notice it, things are shaded more on one side than the other, obviously depending on what direction the light is coming from. And it's something like that people don't always do, take into account when they're doing ink drawings. You will find it probably a little bit more difficult painting the left hand side. Depends if you're left-handed, right-handed. Don't kind of overwork it too much. If you have the odd bit coming out there, that's absolutely fine. But as with all things in nature, it is, especially like plants and things like that, it's not necessarily symmetrical. From a distance it might look it is, but in reality it probably isn't. So don't worry too much. Try and get rid of some of these spikier edges. See, the paper I'm doing this is quite thin, but if you just want to have a go at something, absolutely no problem whatsoever. If you want to make this into an actual drawing, probably best to do it on actual drawing paper. It comes in various thicknesses. Right, so this is a kind of give you the rough idea of what the tree is going to look like. So there we go. So that is pretty much just an ink tree there. Obviously, then you can kind of build up things around it, start putting your background in and whatever your fancy kind of thing. And there we go. So if you wanted to put some more in the background, you could certainly put some more in the background there and just kind of build up a bit of depth really. When you're doing stuff like this, especially if that's kind of going to be the main object in the front, don't forget, if you kind of want to make it a bit more interesting, kind of use the vanishing line, stuff like that. So you're going to be looking, that is going to be, say, your horizon there. And for the sake of this, I'll just put some vanishing lines in there. So this is the kind of the main object here. So really want people to focus on that. So I'm going to kind of wreck it by putting these in, but use that kind of thing as your vanishing line. So what it'll help you to do, it'll help you to put things into perspective basically. So if we have a tree there, that would be the height of the tree there. If you wanted a tree here, it would probably be that size. So just follow the line along and that would give you a rough idea. So if we had a tree there, very rough, and another object there, but it does give you that perspective. That's always something to think about. But basically, that's how you can go about drawing an ink tree. So pretty easy to do. It's quite a nice effect actually, and there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed watching that. If you want to have a go at that, it's easy peasy. It's probably one of the easiest things you can learn to draw. So by all means, just give it a crack. A4 paper, and this particular pen is a Pilot V-Ball pen, V-Ball gel pen, which you can get in most stationers or online as a pack. So there we go. Hope you've enjoyed looking at that. Don't forget, always sign your work down the bottom or wherever you fancy, and date it, which is pretty important. It's nothing worse than buying something or finding something years later and not having the faintest idea who did it. So always date and sign your work. So I hope you enjoyed watching that, and hopefully you find that a little bit useful, give you an incentive to have a go yourself. Please check out my other videos, which are just painting videos. Depending if this goes okay, I can upload it. I'll put more tutorials on about probably abstract pieces actually, because people often ask where I start with an abstract piece. So that might be a next little project. But thanks for your time. Hope you liked what you've seen. Check out my contact details if you want to email me at all. It's victortilson@yahoo.co.uk, Victor with a K. Always welcome to ask any questions. On Instagram, it is Victor Tilson. And you can contact me on Facebook again with the same spelling. So always happy to interact. If you've got any questions, feel free to get in touch. Thanks a lot for your time, and check back soon for more videos.